This demo is to introduce a new companion product to ASTA Power Project called ASTA Project Analyser. ASTA Project Analyser is a tool that can enable you to compare the differences between two ASTA Power Project files. You could choose to compare the differences between two separate ASTA Power Project projects or between a project and its baseline. And the differences are then outputted to a report. In order to demonstrate how Project Analyser works, first of all I've created a very simple Power Project file here and I've baselined that. I'm now going to make some changes to this so we have a variance against the baseline. I'll do a couple of different things. I've linked things together so we've got a difference in our start and end dates. I'm going to apply a couple of code libraries to the tasks. I'll change a duration and then I'll save these changes. Okay, so to open Project Analyser, when you first open the product, and each time you open it, you'll be presented with a welcome screen. It's the help menu and it'll allow you to navigate to different sections which will tell you more about how to create your report in Project Analyser. So it's quite a useful feature that allows you to pick up the product and guide you through the process of creating the report should you need any help. Before you create your first report, you'll need to create and save a report library. These are the files that are saved onto your computer. Project Analysis reports are all stored within report libraries. So the first step would be to create my library. I'll click New. Now see how the screen is split into three separate areas. On the left hand side you have your library pane, and this is going to display the details of the library that I've created. Each time you create a library, the top level is the report group, and it allows you to create a hierarchy of reports in your library. So you have a report group that you can name. And then within that group you can create subgroups. So you might choose to have subgroups for different projects or for different groups of reports within one project. For example, so you can see the hierarchy being created here. So we have the library pane on the left. In the center here we have the what's called management and output pane, and it allows you to edit the properties of the libraries you're creating, or at a later stage the reports that you're creating within those libraries. And at all times on the right hand side of the screen you've got the help menu. Whatever option you click on within the management pane or within the library pane, or indeed any of the toolbar options, the help menu changes to guide you through and give you advice on what you're clicking on. And you can navigate through the help menu with the use of these green arrows or go back to the home page. Okay, so I've created a library. I'm going to save this library before I create my first report. So I'll click my save button, and you can see that it's saved as a .rlb file, and I'll name it and save it onto my computer. Okay, so within project 1, my first project, I'm going to create my first report. Now to create the report, the easiest way is to right click and add report. You can also select the group level within the library and click the icon on the toolbar to add a report. A new report is created within my group for project 1, and the central pane is now displaying the properties of this report. I'm now able to edit these properties to specify the type of details that I want in my report. First of all, on the General tab, you'll give the report a name. You give it a title. The default is a comparison report. You can edit that if you want to. And a description that will help you remember why you've created the report. So there we go. Generated report file. Here you can click the Browse button and specify where you want to save the report that you're about to create. You can also specify the file type, and the options we have are to create a text file, an XML file, or an HTML file. I'm going to create an HTML file, and I'm going to call it Okay, so my file location is now shown in the generated report file section. Final option you have on the General tab is to create the report using a transformation file. Now again, the help menu is always on display, so you'll find some information over here on the right as to what that means. And basically, ASTA Project Analyser reports are produced initially in XML format, and then they're converted into the file format that is specified, and I've specified an HTML file report. And they're converted using standard XML transformation files. Now, if you're conversant with these types of formats, you can produce your own transformation files and use these to convert your reports into a format that you want. If that's the case, you'd simply tick the box and you'd specify where to find the transformation file that you are going to use. Moving on to the Options tab, we've got options for the time unit that we want to display in our report. This can be hours or days. I'm going to select days. And we can choose to match tasks by, the default is the unique task ID, but you could use work breakdown numbers or internal IDs. And there's simple tick boxes to include a section detailing access problems or to group report by task. I'm going to choose the group report by task. We'll see the result in the finished product. Our next option, specify the base project. So basically specify the first project that you want to use in your comparison. In my example, I want to compare the latest version of my project to the original baseline that I took. So my base project is my baseline file, and I'm going to select my baseline here. You can choose to use local files or server-hosted projects, and if you're going for a server-hosted project, you'd select this option, specify the server and project and any usernames and passwords that are relevant. Okay, the next tab is the revised project. So here we want to give the details of the second project we want to use in our report. This, for my example, is going to be the live version of my Power Project file, which I'll select here. The scope. If I had a multi-level project that had been developed into a work breakdown structure, if it showed a hierarchy, we could choose which scope to include in the report. Mine was a very simple project, and the default will always be to report on the whole project unless you change this and specify limited sections of the project to include in the report. And the components lists lots of different types of information that can be included in your report. So variations in added tasks, tasks that have been deleted, moved, whether code libraries have been assigned, constraint changes, etc., etc. And for more information on all of these things, the help menu is to hand, and you can click to find out more information for any of these components. I'm going to leave them all ticked for my report. Once all of the various properties for your report have been completed, you choose to run the report. Now there's a toolbar button to do that. We click Run. And my comparison report is created. It has been saved to the location that I specified on my General tab. And when I click OK, within Project Analyzer, it will jump to the Results tab and show me the results. So it will show me my report. And we can see here now the summary of information. And because all of my changes are grouped by task, it's shown me the information for task 1 and any variations in the live project to my baseline file. And we can see that for task 1, it's now critical. It's had a code library assigned and the revised duration has changed compared to the baseline. And this is then listed for each of my tasks in my project. So it's a useful way of being able to compare or detail the differences between two Power Project files. The properties of a particular report can be changed and you can choose to rerun the report. So if I was to, for example, choose not to group the report by task in this case, and I could rerun my report, I will be overwriting my original report because I chose exactly the same file location and name for this report. And just to show you an example of how the report would look in this case, so rather than being grouped by task, the report is grouped by the component, the various changes that could have occurred in the project. So we can see that some task criticality changes, and it is listed each task name, task ID, and the variations. Okay. Of course, when we finished, we would save our library, which now has a report contained within it. And I could close Project Analyzer. My reports are stored on my local computer so they can be picked up whenever I need them. I don't need to open Project Analyzer to access my report. Next time I do come into Project Analyzer, if I do want to create further reports into the same library, I would open the library that I previously created. And here's that library now displayed in the library pane. Alternatively, I could choose to create a new library and a new set of reports held within that library.